Are you tired of feeling drained, disrespected, or just plain overwhelmed in your relationships? Do you struggle to say no and constantly put others' needs before your own? If you want to reclaim your peace, your power, and your personal space, then this is the most important video you'll watch today. Get ready to master the art of boundaries, transform your relationships, and finally protect your energy. Hey, Relationship and Hookup Compass family. Chloe here, and I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today. We talk a lot on this channel about navigating the complexities of modern dating, building healthy relationships, and finding genuine connections. But there's one topic that underpins all of it, something so fundamental to your peace, your well being, and ultimately your happiness in any interaction, be it a casual hookup or a serious partnership. And that, my friends, is boundaries. Today, we're not just dipping our toes in the water, we're diving headfirst into Boundaries Bootcamp. This is where we learn to become emotional ninjas, protecting our peace, safeguarding our energy, and ensuring we're always, always, always treated with the respect we deserve. If you've ever felt drained after a date, confused about a partner's expectations, or just plain overwhelmed by someone else's demands, then this episode is your absolute lifeline. We're going to break down why setting boundaries isn't selfish, but instead, it's the ultimate act of self-care and a cornerstone of any truly fulfilling relationship. So grab your notebooks, maybe a comforting cup of tea, and let's get ready to empower ourselves, because by the end of this session, you'll have the tools and the confidence to communicate your needs clearly, stand firm in your values, and cultivate relationships that truly nourish your soul. This is Relationship and Hookup Compass, and we're starting our Boundaries Bootcamp right now. So let's kick things off with the big question. Why are boundaries so incredibly important? In a world that often encourages us to be constantly accommodating, to put others first, or to avoid conflict at all costs, the idea of setting firm lines can feel, well, a little uncomfortable, right? Maybe even a bit rude. But I'm here to tell you that couldn't be further from the truth. Think of boundaries like the fences around your property. They're not there to keep everyone out. They're there to define where your space begins and ends. They protect what's valuable to you: your time, your energy, your emotions, your physical space, and your personal values. Without these fences, people can inadvertently, or sometimes intentionally, trespass on your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they're about control, controlling other people. But that's not it at all. Healthy boundaries are about self-control. They're about taking responsibility for your own needs and communicating them clearly. They're about defining what you will and will not accept, what makes you feel safe and respected, and what depletes you. And guess what? When you're clear about your boundaries, you actually create more space for genuine connection because both parties know where they stand. There's less guesswork, less resentment, and a lot more respect. Another vital reason boundaries are your superpower, especially in the often unpredictable landscape of dating and relationships, is that they prevent burnout and resentment. How many of us have said yes when we desperately wanted to say no? How many times have we ignored a gut feeling because we didn't want to rock the boat or we were afraid of disappointing someone? Over time, these small concessions add up. They chip away at your self-esteem, drain your energy, and lead to a deep-seated resentment that poisons even the most promising connections. Setting boundaries is an act of self-preservation. It's saying, my well-being matters, and I will protect it. Furthermore, boundaries build mutual respect. When you respect yourself enough to articulate your limits, you teach others how to treat you. People often mirror the respect you show yourself. If you consistently allow your boundaries to be crossed, you're inadvertently sending a message that your needs aren't important. But when you stand firm, even gently, you're demonstrating your worth. And that's incredibly attractive and foundational to any lasting relationship. It shifts the dynamic from a potential power imbalance to one of equal partners who value each other's autonomy. Finally, and this is especially true in the dating world, boundaries help you filter for compatible partners. When you're clear about your non-negotiables, you quickly identify who aligns with your values and who doesn't. This saves you a tremendous amount of time, energy, and heartache. You avoid getting deeply invested in relationships that are fundamentally incompatible with your desire for healthy communication, mutual understanding, and respect. It's like having a built-in compatibility radar. So, embracing boundaries isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about actively curating a life and relationships that genuinely serve you. Now that we're clear on the why, let's talk about the what. When we say boundaries, what exactly are we talking about? It's not just a blanket term. There are several different types of boundaries, and understanding them helps us articulate our needs more precisely. First up, we have physical boundaries. These are pretty straightforward. They relate to your personal space, your body, and your physical comfort. This includes things like how much personal space you need, your comfort level with touch, and even your boundaries around sexual intimacy. For example, if you're on a first date and someone leans in too close, a physical boundary would be subtly shifting away or politely stating, I prefer a bit more space. Or if you're not comfortable with physical intimacy until a certain point in a relationship, communicating that clearly is a crucial physical boundary. It's about protecting your body and ensuring your physical comfort and safety. Next, we have emotional boundaries. These are about protecting your feelings and your emotional energy. This is a big one, especially in relationships. Emotional boundaries involve deciding what emotional burdens you're willing to carry, how much emotional vulnerability you're comfortable with, and protecting yourself from emotional manipulation or excessive negativity from others. For instance, if a friend consistently uses you as their therapist without reciprocating, an emotional boundary might be saying, I care about you, but I'm not equipped to handle this level of emotional support right now, or suggesting they seek professional help. It also means not taking responsibility for other people's feelings or problems that aren't yours to solve. It's about not allowing others to dump their emotional baggage on you. Then there are mental or intellectual boundaries. These protect your thoughts, beliefs, and opinions. This means you have the right to your own thoughts and opinions, even if they differ from someone else's. It's about not allowing others to invalidate your experiences, belittle your intelligence, or force their opinions on you. For example, if someone constantly interrupts you or dismisses your ideas, a mental boundary would be firmly stating, please let me finish my thought, or I respect your opinion, but I see it differently. This is particularly important in dating, where intellectual compatibility is key. You want a partner who can engage in respectful debate, not shut down your perspective. We also have time boundaries. Oh, how crucial these are in our busy lives. Time boundaries are about how you allocate your time and energy. This means saying no to commitments that overextend you, protecting your personal time for rest or hobbies, and not allowing others to demand your time without consideration. For instance, if a new date is constantly texting or calling late at night, a time boundary might be, I appreciate you reaching out, but I generally unplug after 9 p.m. Or if your partner expects you to drop everything for them, a time boundary would be communicating your work schedule or personal commitments. Your time is valuable, and setting clear boundaries around it prevents burnout and ensures you have space for yourself. And finally, we have material or financial boundaries. These relate to your possessions and your money. This means being clear about what you're willing to share, lend, or spend. For instance, if a friend frequently forgets to pay you back, a financial boundary would be saying, "I'm happy to cover you this time, but I need you to pay me back by Friday." Or in a dating context, it might involve discussing financial expectations early on, or simply not feeling pressured to spend more than you're comfortable with. It's about protecting your resources and avoiding situations that lead to financial stress or exploitation. Understanding these different categories helps you pinpoint exactly where you need to draw your lines and gives you the language to articulate them effectively. Remember, boundaries aren't about building walls. They're about creating healthy parameters within your relationships. Recognizing your boundary breakers. What does it feel like? The gut check. Discuss the physical and emotional signs that a boundary is being crossed, e.g., resentment, exhaustion, anxiety, irritation, feeling taken advantage of, loss of self. Common scenarios. Provide concrete examples in dating and relationships where boundaries are often neglected, e.g., constant texting, unannounced visits, unsolicited advice, pushing for intimacy, disrespecting no, emotional dumping. The fear factor. Address why people struggle to set boundaries: fear of rejection, fear of conflict, wanting to be liked, guilt, past trauma, people-pleasing tendencies. Emphasize that these fears are normal but can be overcome. The art of communication. How to confidently communicate your needs. Be clear and direct. Emphasize using I statements. I feel, when you, I need. Avoid passive-aggressive behavior or expecting others to read your mind. Be concise. Don't over-explain or apologize unnecessarily. Be calm and assertive. Discuss the difference between assertiveness and aggression. Maintain a respectful tone. Practice, practice, practice. Suggest rehearsing conversations, starting with smaller boundaries. Choosing your moment. Advise on picking the right time and place for important boundary conversations. Examples. Provide specific scripts for communicating boundaries in various situations, e.g., I'm not available for calls after 9 p.m. I need some alone time to recharge. I'm not comfortable discussing my past relationships yet. I appreciate your advice, but I need to figure this out on my own. Navigating reactions. What happens when you set a boundary? Positive reactions. Acknowledge that healthy partners will respect your boundaries and may even appreciate your clarity. This strengthens the relationship. Negative reactions and how to handle them. Pushback testing. Explain that some people will test boundaries. Discuss the importance of consistency. Guilt tripping, manipulation. Provide strategies for recognizing and disengaging from manipulative tactics. Anger, defensiveness. Advise on staying calm, reiterating your boundary, and disengaging if the other person becomes abusive. Sadness, disappointment. Acknowledge that some people may be genuinely sad or disappointed, but that doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. The why question. Explain how to respond when asked, why? You don't always need to justify, but sometimes a brief explanation helps. A consequence of ignored boundaries. Discuss what happens if boundaries are consistently violated. For example, increased resentment, emotional distance, erosion of trust, ultimately needing to reevaluate the relationship. Boundaries in specific relationship stages types, dating app early dating boundaries, for example, screening, communication frequency, personal information, physical touch, financial expectations. Casual hookups FWB boundaries, for example, emotional involvement, expectations, communication post-hookup, safety, exclusivity talk. Exclusive, committed relationship boundaries, for example, personal space, individual hobbies, family involvement, financial transparency, conflict resolution, emotional support. Social media, friendship boundaries, for example, lending money, emotional dumping, unsolicited advice, time commitment. Family boundaries, for example, privacy, unsolicited advice, holiday expectations. Common boundary challenges and how to overcome them. The guilt trip, strategies for managing feelings of guilt. The fear of loss, how to process the fear that setting boundaries might lead to relationship dissolution, and why this might be a necessary outcome if the relationship isn't healthy. Consistency is key. The importance of maintaining boundaries even when it's difficult. Learning from past mistakes, reflecting on times boundaries were crossed, and how to learn from them. Seeking support, when to seek help from a therapist or trusted friend. Wow, we've covered so much today in our Boundaries Bootcamp. Let's quickly recap the key takeaways, because these are the principles that will truly empower your dating life and relationships. First, we explored the crucial why behind setting boundaries. We learned that boundaries are not about controlling others, but about self-care and self-preservation. They protect your peace, energy, and well-being, prevent resentment, and foster mutual respect in all your interactions. Essentially, they're your relationship's superpower. Then, we broke down the different types of boundaries: physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, time, and material, financial. Understanding these distinct categories helps you identify where your limits are and articulate them with precision. We also discussed how to recognize when a boundary is being crossed, paying attention to those crucial gut feelings and physical signs of discomfort, resentment, or drain. And perhaps most importantly, we started to equip you with the art of communication, learning to use clear, direct, and assertive I statements, choosing your moments, and practicing your delivery. This is where the rubber meets the road, transforming internal discomfort into empowered action. Finally, we briefly touched on navigating reactions to your boundaries, understanding that healthy responses will involve respect, while unhealthy ones might require firmness and consistency on your part. Remember, setting boundaries is an ongoing process, a muscle you strengthen over time. It's about consistently choosing yourself, valuing your peace, and building relationships based on genuine respect and understanding. That's it for this deep dive into Boundaries Bootcamp on Relationship and Hookup Compass. I truly hope this episode has given you the confidence and the tools to start reclaiming your peace and building the kind of healthy, fulfilling relationships you deserve. I want to hear from you. What are your biggest challenges when it comes to setting boundaries? What's one boundary you're committed to setting this week? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. Share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next crucial conversation. Until next time, stay empowered, stay authentic, and keep navigating that relationship and hookup compass with confidence. See you soon!